Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hello. My name is Olivia and I talk about anthropology every single Sunday, so if that's something that you're interested in, go check out my other videos. But today we're going to be doing something that's been pretty highly requested in the last few weeks, and that is talking about my experience backpacking through Western Europe as a first-time international traveler. Now, to travel the world has literally been my dream, I think, for my whole life. My favorite book growing up was this Atlas of the United States, where I would just look at like the state tree and the state bird and the state flower, and I just loved the idea of getting to see all these places, and that has like only grown. And so to get to go abroad for the first time, I'm 22, which for a lot of people that I know, that's actually kind of late. So yeah, to get to go abroad for the first time and experience something new was just amazing. And I'm so excited to talk about, and being an anthropology major really did have a big impact on that and that dream. So yeah, let's just talk about it. So first, I want to tell you about the countries and the cities that I went to and who I traveled with. So I backpacked Europe for a month, which is just wild thinking about it. 4 weeks. It was amazing. It was a long time and it was great. Now, the first 3 weeks of this trip was with my two absolute best friends, my childhood best friend and my college best friend, and now they're great friends, and it was awesome. And then the last week of this trip, I actually flew down to a different country to meet up with my boyfriend. So yeah, now where did I go to? So for those first 3 weeks with my two best friends, we started in Portugal, so we flew into Lisbon, and then from Lisbon we went to Madrid, and then from Madrid we went over to Barcelona. So we spent a lot of time in like Portugal and Spain, which was a great time. Please go if you get the opportunity. And then from Barcelona we went to France, more specifically Paris. I mean, you kind of have to go to Paris, right, if you've never been before. I'd love to explore other parts of these places also one day that aren't like the big attraction places, but you know, I kind of had to go since it was my first time. And then from Paris, we went to the Netherlands, Amsterdam. Amsterdam is amazing. I loved Amsterdam. That was awesome. And then from Amsterdam, we went to London. And my cousin actually goes to school in London. She goes to King's College, so it was super fun to meet up with her and kind of get to see what she's up to. And then that was the whole 3 weeks with my two best friends. And then from London, I flew into Rome. So I went to Italy, spoiler. And I met up with my boyfriend, and then we did Rome, Florence, and technically we did Milan, but guys, a lot of things hit the fan in Milan travel-wise. I'm not going to talk about that in this video. I probably will talk about it in another video. And so let's just say I didn't see much of Milan because the traveling was chaos. Okay, so the next thing that I want to talk about in this video is flights. And I don't know if this speaks to anybody else watching these videos, but I definitely get a little bit nervous on flights. Not like a full-blown anxiety attack or anything like that, but just like nervous, you know, probably because I haven't done it like all that much, especially not internationally. And so the idea of flying from LAX to Lisbon was kind of terrifying to me because I just could not wrap my head around being in the air for that long. Like, it just was crazy. But the way that it worked out is we actually had 2 flights. And so the first flight was from LAX to Montreal, and that was like a 5.5-hour flight. And then the next flight was from Montreal to Lisbon, and that was like a 6.5-hour flight. And the longest flight that I'd ever been on before this was like 6 hours to Hawaii. So it wasn't all that much longer than what I was used to. It was just a really long travel day. And I learned a lot. I had to fly a lot for this trip, which makes sense. Like, even in Europe, there were some unplanned flights that had to happen. And I really did learn that it's just an initial hump that you have to get over. And then for me, at least, once I was in the air, I was a lot better. So that was really awesome. Now, the next thing that I want to touch on very briefly is jet lag. Guys, I was like, haha, I've never had jet lag before. Jet lag got me good on this trip. In Lisbon, I felt like I was just asleep. Like, I loved it and it was amazing and I definitely experienced it, but oh my gosh, I had so much coffee. Thank goodness the coffee was like €1. Otherwise, I don't know what I would have done. Jet lag, I learned it hits some people really hard and other people not that bad. So some of the people that I was traveling with were completely fine. I was not. I would be so tired all day, and then it's like, oh, finally, like I get to go to bed. And then you can't sleep and it makes no sense. So yeah, just that was a weird thing to experience. It's a very real thing, jet lag. And yeah. So now I want to talk to you guys a little bit about hostels, my experience staying in hostels. Obviously, if you're backpacking, it's usually a good idea to stay in hostels. For anyone who doesn't know, backpacking is like a very economical way to travel through the world because you don't have to check a bag. It's just like literally on your backpack or literally on your back, and then you don't have to like get a hotel room or something. You can just lock up your backpack in the hostel lockers, which is really nice. So it saves you a lot of time and a lot of money. And hostels, I wouldn't necessarily say are like a luxury experience. Rather than like booking a room, you're booking a bed, sometimes with like 10 to even like 15 or 20 people in a room. The max that we ever did was 10. But still, it's a lot of people. And on my first night in Lisbon, you guys, there was this guy snoring louder than I've ever heard in my entire life. And I just started crying because I was like, is this going to be my life for the next month? It got better. The snorers were not as loud after that night, but still, hostels definitely aren't a luxury experience. But what I did take away is that it's really cool because there's a big community in hostels. A lot of people are solo traveling. A lot of people are genuinely just trying to see the world for the least amount of money possible, which I respect a lot. And so you make friends. Like we met these girls that we ran into at like several different hostels in several different countries because people kind of plan the same thing, you know, because it's like, well, if I'm in Lisbon, I might as well go to Madrid because it's right there. And then you might as well go to Barcelona because it's right there, you know? So you see people, and that was awesome. So much community, very good price, sometimes included meals. And honestly, the beds were pretty comfortable, especially after a long day on your feet. Now, because I'm an anthropology girl and this is an anthropology channel, I wanted to touch on culture and just what it was like for me to be somewhere for a month that was completely different from what I'm used to. Because again, I talk about this all the time, and so to actually experience it, I hope you guys couldn't just hear my stomach right there. To actually experience these new cultures and be somewhere different, completely different from what like all I know, was amazing. And I would highly, highly, highly recommend doing a trip like this if you can. And the reason that I say this is because, at least for me as a first time going abroad girl, to get a taste of so many different countries back to back to back to back to back, or even different cities, like going from Madrid to Barcelona, completely different vibes. And I personally liked Madrid better, but I feel like a lot of people love Barcelona, so that was surprising. Like, it's just, you're moving around so much that it's so easy for you to just directly compare where you've been. And I thought that was really amazing. And now what I've kind of been telling myself and what I've really been thinking and reflecting on is, if I go back, when I go back to Europe, I'd love to spend a longer amount of time in one or two places so I can get that full like ethnography experience, you know, where you're in a place for a long time. But now I have a canvas, I think, for understanding like Europe and basic European culture and stuff, like things as simple as going to the bathroom and like getting a water with dinner are not free in Europe. Like I didn't know that. Also, the infrastructure is like completely built on walking everywhere or using public transportation, which is so different from here. Like, I depend on a car so much, and I really admired that Europe was not like that at all. And then there's also all these street sellers like everywhere, and they'll just come up to you and be like, hey, buy this mini Eiffel Tower, or hey, I know you want this leather bag. I know you do. Buy it. And that doesn't happen here, really. So it was just cool, I don't know, to have this like basic understanding of Europe, you know, as very much an outsider. And I don't know, to get to go back and like deepen that in a few places would be awesome. Now, the next thing that I wanted to talk about is backpacking more specifically, because a lot of people that I told that I was doing this trip were like, oh my God, that's amazing. And then I would say that I'm backpacking it, and they would be like, I could never do that. I could never have all my belongings like on my back for a month. And because people think you need a lot of stuff. And I'm already someone who doesn't like a lot of stuff. Like, I compulsively get rid of things, and I've been told by my roommates to stop doing that. So I didn't think it would be all that difficult for me, but what I like furthered that even more in the sense that when I got back, I opened up my closet, or these boxes of clothes, because I was moving, and I was like, I literally don't need any of this. You get so used to having so few things, and you do laundry every week. It's not like I'm wearing dirty clothes. We'd wash our clothes at the end of every week in these hostels and start again. You pack a week's worth of clothes, little bottle of like shampoo, conditioner, a little travel towel, earplugs, and then you're kind of good to go. I had my Kindle, no laptop, did not touch a computer for over a month. Like, I don't know, it was just really cool to see firsthand that you don't really need all that much. And if anything, it really pushed me to want to do it again. And I think you could do it. Even if you like stuff, I really think you could do it. Now, I wanted to conclude this video with just an overall, my experience, my impressions going abroad for the first time, because I feel like maybe people watching this video are also going abroad for the first time, or maybe not, maybe you're just curious. And I wanted to say that I was genuinely really, really nervous to do this trip, and at the same time, it was something that I wanted to do so, so badly. And to be, I don't know, to have this like inner conflict almost with myself for so long leading up to it was really difficult. But on the other side of it, I like look at all these photos that I have and all these memories that I have, and I am so happy that I did it, and I would totally do it again. So if this is you, if you're scared, or if you don't want to, drop that much money or go on a plane or whatever it is, I think you should, save your pennies, book flights in advance, go to hostels, book a bed. It's not about the sleep. That is what I learned. This trip is not going to be about the sleep. It's about seeing like amazing places, going to the Eiffel Tower, walking through the Sagrada Familia. What else did I do? So many things. Big Ben, like there's so much, and you could see it. You could. So my thing is flashing, and I know that means it's about to end. So I will see everybody next Sunday. I love you all so much.